Hi, I'm Tom.
I'm Matty.
And I'm Lewis.
This is the Wigan Way, Wigan's favourite rugby league podcast.
He'll put you in his trap, cause he's a union man. He's got it all figured out. He won't care what you think, cause he's a northern man. He's allowed to speak his
So thank you for coming back. It's been 3 weeks since we won our sixth grand final, our sixth Super League title. You showed us on the website, Matty, on the Warriors website, that now says 6, and it's very nice to see that change, and all the little clips of the Twitter bio changing are always really nice to see. But it's been about 3 weeks since we last recorded. How are you all feeling, Matty?
Well, sometimes I have to remember that we're champions. It does feel like a strange one, I think, just because of the situation of the final, not being many tries, being really close, and being against Catalan Dragons where everyone was hoping they would win. Just sometimes think, oh yeah, we did win the whole thing. Won league leaders, won grand final.
Feels weird because it doesn't feel like off-season yet. I think so. We've gone from finishing the grand final straight into the England versus Tonga tests. It doesn't actually feel like it's the off-season yet. I'm kind of not. It's almost like I'm not missing rugby league because I don't feel like it's gone away.
No,
so obviously we've gone into England and Tonga straight away.
We are currently watching the NRL grand final from 2014. Again.
We always have a game on in the background.
It's usually that one.
But this is the thing that we talk about, that, and it has been a point of discussion. We are going to talk more about the England Tonga series, but do you feel like there's been a significant break? Because before usually you get about 3 or 4 weeks, the hype of the season dies down and it builds up into the international games. This feels like it's just sort of, oh yeah, we're playing an international next week, and
No, it was very underwhelming, I think, pre-series.
Yeah.
I think we'll talk more about it later.
After the first game,
I think it has been a fantastic series, and I think that first game did play a part in that. But I think prior to that first game, I mean, we spoke about it in the week after the grand final. It just felt flat, didn't it?
yeah.
It didn't feel like you say, there was much, and this might be like, again, this probably was me. I don't know. Maybe you two lads will have to say if you were the same, but. Like the first test, I didn't actually realise until like a couple of days before that. I think the first one was played on a Sunday, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The first
First test was played on a Sunday, and we were actually getting ready to film the grand final review, and we sat there waiting or whatever, and you said to me, "Oh, the game's Sunday, isn't it?"
Yeah, it's next week, and I was like, I completely, like you said, no, obviously the World Cup, you kind of, for like you said there, Tom, for weeks building up to it, you know when it is, you're counting down the days. Whereas this was like, oh, it's next week, I didn't even know it wasn't. I didn't think it.
Well, that was it.
You didn't even know.
The Ali Gap was giving tickets away for the Fiji friendly.
Yeah, we went for free.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and just little things like that built it up. Where this series sort of felt like, oh yeah, England are playing.
Well, they did bring Victor Radley out at the grand final, and I saw him because I was quite near the front. And as soon as he opened his mouth to speak about the Tonga series, Wigan came out to warm up and he got drowned out.
Yeah.
And by the time they finished, they never even asked him any more questions. He was just gone. So I did feel a bit sorry for Victor on that one, but you've got to hype it up more than that.
That's what I mean. A 2-minute thing before the grand final isn't really that, like, adverts.
No. We could hear them quite well. Like, well, when they interviewed Gary Connolly and Jerome Guisset, and when they read the team news out, but I don't know what it was like in the Stretford End for you guys, because I've been there for football before and you can't hear a thing.
Yeah, didn't hear much. There was points. I don't think. I remember hearing a substitution or anything like that being made. Or, obviously, that's Old Trafford. But before we get into that,
well, my point there was, even if Victor had been allowed to speak freely, you wouldn't have heard him anyway.
That's what I mean. Yeah, I fully agree. Do you not think that would have been better, like, before a semi-final? Before the semi, they've already landed over here. Because Bateman could have come back early. One of them could have come early. And you just think maybe do it before a semi-final when the atmosphere's not there.
I don't know.
Then you can pre-show it before the grand final again.
It's got to be really tough for Wigan fans. I saw there was a Saints fan totting up how much every game, to go to every game would have been like
Yeah.
800 and something quid. Think about Wigan fans, then 50 quid on top of that to go to the grand final, and you've paid for your semi-final ticket, and it's really tough then to go and fork out some more money and go to St Helens the week after. I think everyone was a bit just...
It's a long season, isn't it? It's a
It
long
is.
season.
And we've said before, the season doesn't need to be 27 games long, or perhaps there could be shorter season, or just more inbuilt breaks into it, because we love watching rugby league, and we like that it's a long season, but 27 games is a lot, especially when you're playing some teams 5 times. We've said before
That's the
having
advantage that the Premier
inbuilt
League
breaks.
has. That it's 20 teams, and you played each one twice.
Yeah.
Where we're playing teams 3 times, and then you might get them in the cup, then you might get them in the playoffs, and by the end of it, it's like
There's a point where I don't want to get into a different conversation here, but saying with your league fixture and your cup fixtures, it always just seems. I remember there was one year, I can't remember which year it was, and I don't, but every week it just felt like we played Cass. I think we had him in an all the way loop fixture, ended up playing him in the cup or something, and I was like, oh, it's
Yeah.
Wigan, that's sweet. I thought, we can't play Cass, we've only just played him all the time.
Hull KR this year.
Okay, this year was probably
it
that
6
team
in
for
the
this
end?
year, yeah. It was
5,
5 in the end, was it?
which
Yeah.
is the maximum. I think the maximum.
Oh, sorry, yeah, obviously.
5's the maximum, because if you can't play them at loop fixture and Magic, because Magic counts as one of
Yeah,
groups.
yeah,
So
sorry.
5 is the maximum. You draw them in every competition.
It's just, it's not right, that, but that's a conversation for a different day. So, should we ever talk about some Wigan news first of all? About 2.5 hours ago now, Wigan announced a dual red partnership with Wakefield. First of all, they seem to be doing an awful lot of things at Wakefield, and
Yeah.
is it a new partial owner? Or
No, it's a full.
Is it a
full
full
ownership? Yeah, the name Ellis.
yeah,
Matt Ellis. I saw a picture they signed Lachlan Wormsley, who was Championship Player of the Season last year from Halifax, the winger.
Like the winger, the Scottish international,
the
yeah.
winger, and the picture of him was in front of that new stand, and
It looks impressive.
It looks really good.
Yeah.
You know, obviously it's only one stand, and you'd want 4 of them, but it looks really good. Really impressed with that stand.
Before we talk about Wigan, I know we said we'd talk about Wigan, but they've made some good signings.
Yeah, I
They've
mean,
got McGilvery,
Ian Thornley,
Thornley,
Wormsley now.
Lachlan Wormsley.
yeah,
Daryl Powell on as the coach.
their wage bill is going to be significantly higher than any other team in the Championship, I think.
But again, I was listening to a Wakefield fan talk about this, and he said, so I said, getting this dual reg, it means that they don't have to fully. They don't have to bring in too many players.
They've already brought in a lot of players.
They've already brought in a lot, but I think this still gives them a bit of room in the cap for if they do get up under the IMG rating. And we can talk about IMG ratings all you want. This has caused Wakefield to invest. They've invested in the ground. They've invested in the infrastructure. They've now brought in some more quality players.
We had they brought in Cozza as well from Featherstone.
Yeah.
We spoke about Cass a while ago in an IMG sort of lens of they're not spending as much money on players this year because they're spending money on getting IMG points, getting the club sorted, getting the stadium sorted. They've been threatening to do that for years. How many times have we been to Cass and they've been talking about a new stadium?
Well, I think I saw 5 remodelled images.
2007.
Yeah.
I had a look. 2007, they first pretended they were going to have a stadium upgrade. It's not changed since the 90s.
No.
In fact, it's gone backwards probably.
Can I ask you both a question? Sorry, going back to Wakefield here.
Yeah.
If you two are Wakefield fans, are you frustrated that it's had to take you to get relegated before something actually changes, or do you think that's just timing because they've got this new owner in that's contributed to that?
Well, the one question I would ask is why is he invested now?
Yeah.
He might have had other, for all we know, he might have had other projects on. He might have only in theory, he could have only just got all his money. He might have just won the Euro Millions last week. I know that's not the case, but if he wins the Euro Millions and decides to buy them and put all his money into them, then that's why it's happened now.
Yeah.
So, maybe why has he not come in a little bit earlier? Could he have done this and kept us in Super League? But as a Wakey fan, with the IMG situation, you're probably going now. If we finish top of the championship, we get more points than what we'd get if we finish 12th.
Here's the thing.
Will the attendance go up in the championship?
This is exactly what I was about to say, winning. So you're pretty confident if the owner does everything he says he's going to do, or I'm pretty confident that they'll be in Super League next year.
Oh, yeah.
2025 that will be. If he does everything he says he's going to do, no reason to doubt him. And they're already pretty healthy with the IMG point anyway. I'm pretty sure they'll be back in. So, okay, you've got a 1 year where you can either probably finish 11th or 12th in Super League. You can scrap for relegation, even though relegation's not a thing. You can scrap for the wooden spoon, whatever it is. And without that threat of will we stay up, fans won't turn up. I think fans turned up against Cass to try and get the team over the line, so they won. Now I reckon if you're in the Championship and you've got the highest wage bill and you've got the best squad,
and they have a good 5-10 games to start with. If they start the season
you'll have an enjoyable year going to all these grounds you've never been to before, seeing all these new teams you've never played against before, winning everything. If you steamroller that competition and you finish top and then you come up anyway because of IMG,
you go into the season with momentum.
Exactly. I think your squad is then full of confidence. Your fan base is full of confidence.
So do you think this has been like a long-term plan rather than a short-term, let's just try and stay up this year and take next year as it comes?
I don't think relegation was part of the plan. I do think that they recruited clearly to try and stay up this year.
Yeah, I don't think they would have brought in the likes of Fafita if it wasn't to stay up.
I think once they got the indicative IMG grade, that they were probably going to be quite a healthy B club and pushing for the top 12. I think their focus is now on, let's have a good year, let's get fans through the door, and let's improve in the community.
Yeah. Change the morale of the club to an extent. They're getting things right, a little bit amid sort of things. They're building a side, maybe not as good as what Lee did when they were in the Championship, but building a side of some Super League quality players.
They're along those lines, yeah.
And I know they've lost a couple of players, like Tanganoa's gone to Hull KR.
Will Dagger's gone to York.
Yeah. And a couple of others that we could talk about.
I mean Eddie Batty, but
Langie's
left.
But they're building a squad of players who've got experience and dotted in with some players like Lachlan Walmsley, who's only going to get better, and some other young lads, and building a dual reg partnership and things like that.
I think it's just what it feels fans from my point. Like, obviously, they've been in the Super League before they've gone. Obviously, down last year. They've been in since, is it 2007? Was it or something?
Yeah,
it was late 2000s. Yeah. I think they've been in for. And it's like they've got relegated in 2023. They've had over 10 years
15
in Super
years.
League. Do you know what I mean? If you're a Wakefield fan, if you're watching, teams like Hull KR who's come on and managed to develop, go on and progress, become a competitive team. I know Sob's having issues at the minute. There's a bit of kind of speculation about how their future's going to look like. But they've got to a grand final. There must be so much fans think we've had our time here. We've just not been able to kick on.
We had that conversation.
Do you not think that with Hull KR though? They got, and I know this is going to spoil the next bit that we're on about. But they got relegated in 2017, was it? 2018?
Yeah, something like
and then bounced back, invest in the squad, have a bit of a club reset when you go down. And once you start winning, winning's infectious. You learn to win big games, and you learn to you learn that winning culture. Then you build on it and bring in players who want to come to a team that's improving. And
the players are looking at Hull KR now and thinking that's a project I can
get. I really want to. Would Hull KR have got Sean Kenny Dowell if the Anta got relegated and bounced back and improved?
It's a good question.
Ryan Hall, players like that.
Yeah, Oliver Gilder going now probably wants to jump on a upwards project with
what's the coach called? I can't blame him for wanting to go there.
Willie Peters. I forgot his name.
So should we go back to Wigan? We've announced the dual reg with Wakefield. With the signings that we've brought in, I think that could be very beneficial to both parties. One, to Wakefield to get some extra players in, but players such as Sam Esse and Tiaki Chan, Harvey Hill, December to an extent, will definitely get game time.
That's the dual reg aspect of it.
Yeah.
I do think we might see one or two of those go on season-long loans.
Yeah. I wouldn't be afraid of that.
Yeah, teams like London and Salford are going to need some depth. So I think we might see a couple of them go on season-long loans. We know Toulouse are big fans of Harvey Hill. And if Sylvain Hules stays after the new takeover, then he might be after Harvey Hill again for a loan.
Yeah.
But I think we'll definitely see a lot of our younger lads. I'm thinking more Tom Forber, maybe Eckersley, Farrimond. guys like that getting weekly run-outs in the Championship with a strong side.
Yeah.
And maybe that's me setting the bar too high. Maybe it's not for that. Maybe it is for the guys you mentioned to be at the top of the Championship. And maybe guys like Forber and Eckersley and Farriman, those guys, Jacob Douglas, Sutton, maybe they go to a side towards the bottom of the Championship. Or
Be interested
top
to
of
see
League
the
One.
dual reg in the reserves in the first team.
How-
Where that
yeah.
plays out.
Yeah,
Who's going to do the dual
might-
reg after
it'll
who's
be
going to be in the
interesting.
reserve team.
Might weaken the reserve team, but then again, what would you rather have?
No, yeah, you definitely want them playing the best
That-
quality
that's gonna
rugby.
be interesting.
It's about the play development, isn't it?
It's going to be interesting to see how we get that balance of reserves to dual reg to the first team.
Well, that's that conversation about the reserves playing in League One, which obviously hasn't come to pass. They've said today that's why that might have been a decent idea.
Yeah.
Because those guys who were perhaps a level below, a bit younger, that aren't Super League ready or aren't top of the Championship ready, could play in League One every week. But that's not happening, obviously.
So, should we talk about our ins and outs? So, at the start of the season, we obviously made 4 announcements in the space of 24 hours. Cruz Leeman, Sam Walters, Adam Kieran and Tiaki Chan. We have talked about them in depth before,
Yeah.
but 4 signings that you get the feeling are long-term projects.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
below the age of 27. I think Lehman's 27.
You can see with, Lehman's the odd one out here with his age and with sort of his profile. With the other 3, I can see Tiaki Chan coming in and just being a straight swap for Ramon Silva as a sort of project prop that didn't work out for us. And Silva's off contract, and this is another go with Tiaki Chan. I can see Walters coming in as a direct replacement for Kai Pearce-Paul
Yeah.
to play exactly the same role, to play that right second row and to play prop. And I can see Adam Kieran coming in because
It's a straight swap for
we were losing Toby King. So I think with those, you think, right, have we got any weaker with them 3? Probably not. I'm a huge Kai Pearce-Paul fan, but I don't think we've got that much weaker with them 3.
No.
Have we improved massively? Probably not, but have we got a bit cheaper? I don't know. We've certainly not got
It's-
more expensive.
Lehman was the bit of a surprise one,
Then
really.
Lehman was a surprise.
Because there's obviously the talks of Sam Powell moving on. Will he stay? What his role's going to be? And he played a bit at 13 last year. And how we would use a squad of 3 hookers and Tom Forber as the 4th choice then.
Yeah.
But I'm really happy with all 4 of them signings. I have to say I'm really
100%.
happy.
Yeah, and Cruz Lehman is a strange one because we always hear Radlinski's got this plan for the squad
Yeah.
that goes 2 years, and Cruz Lehman wasn't available in February.
Yeah.
He was tied down, he was Leeds captain. So that must have just been us being opportunistic, I think, and
Yeah.
perhaps thinking we weren't going to get as much out of Powell as we did, and maybe long-term planning with that. But I do like this long-term planning with these 4 signings plus the other 2 that we'll mention.
Well, the next one was just before the grand final, before the semi-final. Sorry.
Yeah, it was in that time.
Luke Thompson on a 4-year deal from the Bulldogs.
Like a straight swap for Smithies, do you think?
I don't know.
I don't know. I can see him being used as a prop.
Yeah.
That's my long-term thing. I think he's more of a prop than a loose forward.
The way I sort of squared this one away, it wasn't as a straight swap for Smithies. Actually, we were a bit light in the prop forwards
Right.
at various points this year. We ended up quite light there.
Yeah.
Playing 2 and Mago, who doesn't do the same minutes as
And
the
let's
others.
be honest, Byrne carried that pack for a spell when
Yeah.
we had some terrible injuries and
Smithies did a long spell at prop.
The third marquee spot opens up a chance for us. I think it just made sense to
An English
recruit
player.
an English player. We had no quota spots really available. I think it just made sense to recruit in that area.
Yeah.
And when he became available, he's an England international.
Yeah, and if we can get the best out of him, then it'd be a fantastic player for us. It'd be one of our. It'd be a Super League leader.
Arguably, he was the best. Him alongside Alex Walmsley when they were both in that dominant Saints pack. They them 2 were the best props in the competition.
And you can imagine
So,
him and somebody like Ethan Havard working like that together.
Yeah,
It's interesting because he's going to be who
but
are
I
your
didn't
four
even-
strongest props to play.
Well,
I don't want to get into what's the 1 to 30 it's going to be because obviously we don't know what else is going to happen with the squad yet. But
And that might be something we do when we do know a bit more about the squad.
yeah,
But
it'll
let's
be
just
interesting.
name them options. If you're starting, Matty Pete likes to go 3 props on the bench. So let's name 5.
Well, I think one of them might be Walters.
So do I.
So
I
if you
think
could-
one will be Walters.
If we take Dupree and Byrne has been our starting props
Yeah.
when Dupree's signed.
Havard.
Hazard,
Thompson.
who's been injured.
Yeah,
We've
but
got Thompson.
Thompson or Ellis.
Byrne.
One of them is going to play
We've
loose
said-
forward.
Yeah.
We've said Byrne, so Dupree and Byrne starting.
Yeah, sorry.
So Dupree and Byrne starting. Hazard, Thompson,
Ellis.
Mago, Cooper. And that's
We're
before
in 7 there.
before he mentioned Harvey Hill if he doesn't.
Sam Walters,
anywhere.
Tiaki Chan.
Walters if he comes back in. Chan. We're up
It
to 10
suddenly,
here.
it suddenly feels like we've gone for
I reckon we've got 12 props. 12
or
players.
12 players who could play
12
prop.
players, 12 players who could play prop. I do think, though, that we will start with Ellis or Thompson at 13,
Yeah.
which means actually, in effect, we'll be picking 6 props.
Yeah.
I don't think Walters will play prop just because of that. But in effect, we're playing six guys who could play prop.
Yeah.
To be honest,
It's not a bad situation to
But
be
not
in,
considering
really.
what we've been through last season when we was very light on props, like Matty said. Like,
Yeah, it'll just be about
Good
squad
strength.
rotation, and obviously there was the talk about Liam Byrne, who was got a bit of stick from fans for his performances in the middle of the season.
we'd have
And
been
it
struggling
comes-
without him.
Matty Pete makes an announcement that he's been playing the last 5-6 weeks with painkilling injections.
If he takes that time off injured,
we
to
are
recover-
we don't get get to the
we don't finish top guaranteed. We perhaps so then we finish third. We have to go to France. Or well,
you have to beat Warrington at
We'd,
home.
we'd have to go.
France.
We'd have to beat Warrington at home and beat St Helens, wouldn't we? Away. Catalan would have finished top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just a far difficult. And,
So,
and Liam
yeah.
Byrne managed us through that. It becomes a real difficult question of rotating players and not having to.
You should rotate your props.
Yeah.
If you're going to play 5 or 6 props every week, you need 8 if they're all fit. 7 or 8 if they're all fit. Never mind.
You pick up
Injuries.
one injury.
And then we just decided to sign another prop after the grand final.
Yeah, in Samesse.
But I think this is just based on
I think this is a player
Potential.
profile signing.
potential.
Yeah, they've seen characteristics in him that he likes. I saw his interview, and for someone who's 18, is he 18?
I think
He might have turned 19.
He's older than that.
He's a massive unit.
He's huge.
He is
Well, wait till he gets Wigan fit. If
and
he
that's
gets in
it.
Wigan shape,
Yeah,
I know we've had a few before who haven't.
but if he can, it's the best place. One of the best places to grow. He's going to get better and better and better. What a signing he could be. And you know what? If he goes
20.
back, he's 20. If he goes back to on loan or goes to dual reg for Wakey for a
Wakey,
year, but he's training with us.
I think they'll see the benefit of that, but I think Wakefield will see a big difference in the player
Yeah.
if he's training with us all pre-season and then he goes to play for them. I think they'll see a big difference.
Now, should we talk about the players that are leaving?
Yeah, well, we spoke about a few.
Yeah, obviously,
Kai Pearce, Paul, Toby King, Kevin Rothwell, and Logan Astley. We spoke about them at the end of the season because we knew they were all leaving.
Yeah. They then announced that Kieran Tyra was off to Oldham.
We can't talk about Oldham, by the way.
Made some good signings.
Oldham are throwing the cash about. Sean Long as coach.
Yeah. Listen, another case of you know how to improve. If they can get the on-field stuff right now, who knows what grading they'll end up as.
Oldham will be favourites to go up to Championship, definitely.
So some very big signings there. Obviously, Logan Astley's gone there as well.
Yeah.
Ian Thornley gone to Wakefield.
Spoke about Wakefield.
Kay Cust, obviously, they allowed his contract to run out, his 2-year contract that he had at Wigan, but has signed a 1-year deal at Salford. And I think some very smart business. If he can stay fit and get over the injury issues that he's had, obviously there was the elbow issue, and there was a back issue, if I remember right.
A neck.
Neck.
Yeah, neck and elbow for Costa.
Nice to see with Cost. A lot of the reaction has been really positive
Yeah.
to him. It's not ended badly this time at Wigan. A lot of people say you've got a really good player, Salford. It's a shame he never could get over his injuries, get fully fit. But you've got a good player, and everyone like Wigan fans wishing him well.
Yeah,
which I don't completely 100% agree with. That should be the way every do because he's never done anything wrong. He always give 100% when he touched the field. It was just he was always playing a bit busted with his elbow.
He's
Like
a team man as well, team player.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he just seems. He seems a great influence around the squad. He gives you options to play 6, 7, 9. I'd have loved to see him at Salford if they'd been able to keep Roddy Croft and Andy Ackers and how they would have used him. That would have been a very, very good signing if they'd been able to keep one of them as well. But I think he can go to Salford and do a really, really good job.
hopefully.
Yeah. The other big one, this was rumoured from probably July, August time, but Morgan Smithies signed for Canberra.
So yeah, spoiled that before, didn't I?
Yeah, a little bit.
My bad.
It's alright, I'll let you off. But obviously he signed for Canberra. Was it a 3-year deal, he said, for him?
Yeah.
How do you think he'll go? We talked about how we think Kai Pearce-Paul will go in the NRL.
Yeah, we think he'll be a success.
I think he'll be a success. I'm just not sure what position he'll play.
I'm probably in the same camp with Morgan Smithies. The detractors are saying the same thing they said when Bateman went, which is he's too small. You can't play on an edge in the NRL if you're that size. You're going up against guys like.
What was it? There's just too many penalties away.
Too many penalties away because you give away 4 this year or something.
Yeah, I think it was 8 in the end of the season, and no yellows or reds.
Last year, no yellows, no reds, no important penalties.
Oh, but he flops on as well, though. That's the other criticism of him.
Third man specialist. I don't get it. It's an interesting question.
I could see him being in the Bateman mould.
I was thinking
hard
about
working.
I was thinking about it on the way over here. We've known KPP's leaving before the start of the season, and so it feels right now like we're going to miss Smithies more. Who do you think's a bigger loss to this team?
Smithies.
I think Smithies.
If Pearce-Paul doesn't play for us, you've got Willie Isa. You can play
Sam Walters now.
Sam Walters now. Smithies makes 50 tackles a game.
He's very underrated in what he did.
He makes 50 tackles a game.
If you go and watch Wigan week in, week out, you start to appreciate the work that Smithies does every game.
50 tackles a game, 15 hit-ups, playing as a first receiver.
Johnny said as well, like when we did that Super League Grand Final preview, the tackles what matter. He's not third man in.
Not third man in.
James Graham just ran away, by the way, because there was some fireworks outside your house. Sorry, James.
It's not bonfire night anymore. Why is he still going off?
No, he's not. He's not third man, and he's not flopping on. He's not just putting his hands on to get the tackle stats up. Tackles what count.
You know
Speaking of James Graham, I actually think Morgan Smithies. I said this to you before, Dukes. I think Morgan Smithies will get the same kind of reputation Graham did. I think Kai Pearce-Paul has got the ability to maybe be more of a sexier player with the offloads and do something. I don't think he's going to come in and do big hits. I don't think he's coming in and steamroll people, but he'll have the Graham. He is a tough English forward who just works hard, who makes tackles, who's not scared to keep going in and keep going again and again and again. And I think he'll get that mentality.
Another one in that mould who perhaps wasn't a superstar in our game, who got loads of praise for doing that in Australia, was Mark Flanagan.
Yeah.
Somebody in a similar position, a similar sort of game style, all about tough stuff and working really hard and putting himself about, but also more like a leader on the field for his actions. And Mark Flanagan went over there and he stood out for all the right reasons because he was just hard working and he just.
And you can miss the work if you don't look for it. You can miss the work that these type of players do.
There's a reason Mark Flanagan was so highly thought of in Australia.
Yeah, when we talk about Morgan Smithies, there's something else that we discussed about him a couple of months ago now. That he's always looking for contact, but it's like he wants it harder every time.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't get that fight and that aggression and that two players want to hit each other and hurt each other, then he sort of looks a bit let down that he has to go and get another tackle. And I think they'll lap that up. Someone who's looking for hard work.
Yeah.
Whether that's on an edge as a back rower or in the middle as a 13.
I think he'll play 13. I think just the way the game's set up, I think he'll play 13. I think Bateman played a bit of 13 last year, didn't it? Or quite a lot actually. And I just think that whole win the contact, get hands and knees, get quick play the balls, set up on a
Making
post.
40, 50 tackles.
No, like just set up a tackle 3, tackle 4 on a goal post.
Yeah.
Make them number up wrong. You think about the the half-backs they have in that,
That-
country and
that-
the full-backs they have in that country, just executing those block plays.
If he plays as a 13, that's going to be the area of improvement for him. He's passing. In my opinion, it improved this year.
I thought he was a good link player.
I thought he'd play very well, but it's going to have to take
at
it.
first receiver this year.
I do agree. But when you look at the look of Patrick Carrigan and Isaiah Yeo and Cam Murray,
I don't know what we're saying with Isaiah Yeo, but
I think that's the area that he could improve.
yeah,
In a season.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think he's been a great link player, and I think he's just got Harry Smith, Jay Field, Bevan French all wider and in more space this year by. being
Right,
able
I
to do
definitely
that.
agree. I just think that's if I was picking one area that I think
Yeah,
could
yeah.
improve, I would probably name that as the area of improvement.
Yeah, I think it's probably giving away fewer penalties.
Oh yeah, that one every 3 games.
That thug on the pitch that he is, one penalty every 3 games.
Yeah.
Stupid comment that clearly doesn't watch Wigan at all.
No, it doesn't. It was a Saints fan. It actually was. It
was a Saints fan.
Should we take a quick break there, and we'll come back to have a chat about the England Tonga
Watch
series?
them firework.
It's expensive. That I don't know who's doing them.
Yeah,
But
a few days later.
it's Wednesday now. No, I'm fine now. We'll be back shortly. Thank you. So thank you for joining us after that quick break. We're going to talk about the England Tonga series now. 3-0 win for England. I think the first thing to talk about was we sort of questioned who would be captain in George Williams' absence in the first 2 games. I think most of us said along the lines of Elliot Whitehead,
Victor
Radley. Jack Wellesby was one that sort of I don't think any of us really expected. Obviously Sean Wayne sees a leader in there.
I didn't expect it to be Wellesby, but I didn't hate it.
No.
Just for his age, really. It's like he's very young, isn't it?
Yeah.
To put a captain and for his country.
Three
In a
grand
big
finals.
series, it's not again like a B team that's gone to play France. No disrespect the men, but obviously we know what we played. When we played the test against France, we didn't put out exactly as strong. It was very much a young team. Whereas this was again a competitive Tonga series. We went out to win.
Sean Wayne and the coaching staff have obviously seen a leader there that they think he's definitely going to be in the squad for the next series. He's definitely going to be there for the next 10. He does seem like I don't know what the word is. He's a long-term vice captain for 4 years under George, and then maybe 5-6 years after that, could he take over? Could he be involved in the Saints captaincy in the next 2-3 seasons? They're going to have to look for a replacement. I don't think they've announced a replacement yet for a club captain for Roby, have they?
I think it will be Lomax.
My
but
guess
I
would
don't
have been
think
Lomax.
they've announced anything.
My guess would be Lomax as well.
But obviously they see something there. Well, the first game, it started off with a tense game, 22-18.
Yeah.
Quite a strong performance, I would say, from all involved. Obviously, Mikey Lewis took the plaudits in this game.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Was fantastic. And
Tom Johnston got 2 tries, didn't
yeah, an intercept and a...
he? A try off Wellesby. Wellesby passed it to him.
Yeah. It was a brilliant ball from Wellesby, that I've got to say, by the way. But Mikey Lewis with that big right foot step. And I can't remember which commentator on the match commentary said, it can be difficult when you come up against someone you probably didn't expect to play. All them Tongan lads were expecting George Williams to play. And
Yeah.
Mikey Lewis in the last 18 months has come a bit of a bigger name over here. Same with Harry Smith.
You
don't-
think they wouldn't have known much about...
I'm not saying they want to know much about him.
I don't think they did. They interviewed. Is it Tanya Arnold? She interviewed.
Yeah.
Felice Kafusi at half time as they do when they walked to the pitch. She has a quick word with him, and she said about Mikey Lewis to him. And she asked him basically like, what do you know about Mikey Lewis or something? And he said, well, we didn't know much before it, but we do now. And that was his literal response, saying we didn't even know who he was. So.
It's weird. I think they've obviously got video footage of him, know a bit about him. But again, they only had a week prep for this game.
Wolf and Wellens were the coaches, so
Yeah.
they'll know him. And obviously you've got Sewell here in that team, and Conrad Hurrell,
Plenty of
Will
England,
Hopkins.
plenty Super League players who will play against him.
There's 3 Super League
But
players
when you're
there.
defending against him as a 3-man in, and you don't know his cues because you've not played against him for 2-3 years, there is usually a 3-4 year spell of someone getting top of Super League, top of the NRL, and then they're on the international scene. This rise from Mikey Lewis is probably over the last 18 months that Hull KR have shot up the table, but so is his performances, and he's took a bigger role in the last, you can go even as little as the last 12 months, that he's really started to take over that team, and he's probably, you would always say Jordan Abdul was the main halfback. Mikey Lewis is...
No, I think Mikey Lewis is now, yeah.
Mikey Lewis is definitely the main player.
And it'll be really
It's his
interesting
team.
to see what they do next year, as we've said many times.
It's going to be Mikey Lewis's team.
With Mikey Lewis and Tyrone May, probably, in the halves.
And that's going on to Hull KR, but I think lining up in that first game, it's very easy to say, right, he's a young halfback, we'll put pressure on him and we'll knock him off his game. Both of them, Harry Smith in a different way, stood up and showed, actually, we are international quality.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we're not here to be bullied by anyone, we're here to do our job, and you're going to play on our terms. That is my personal opinion on how them two played.
Yeah, 100%. I think Harry did what he does for Wigan every week, organised, kicked well, and just put us in the right places when we turned the ball over.
I'm one of Harry Smith's biggest fans. We rave about him, but he did.
Almost in a more sustainable way. That you
Yeah.
thought, right, Mikey Lewis clearly can't do that every game because nobody could.
Yeah.
Whereas you think Harry Smith could actually play that well every
Yeah,
game.
he can just boss games, just boss them, and like he did at Wigan, he, in the go forward, maybe played a little bit of second fiddle to a Wellesby and a Lewis or a George Williams, but just did his job, defended well. I thought all the halfbacks, Lewis, Williams in the third game, and Smith across all 3, defended really well.
Yeah.
For 2 big second rows, and we highlighted that being our...
We were worried about it, weren't we?
Yeah, Felice Kafuse, Olakawatu, Tyson Frizzell.
Kolomatangi, I mean, what ridiculous riches they've got in the back row.
But
Tonga.
you did worry that they could get bullied, though. They didn't. They weren't dominant. I'm not going to say Harry Smith, Mikey Lewis and George Williams were dominating every tackle they were in. But they didn't get run over loads.
I think Mikey Lewis struggled in the first game, and I think Sean Wynne, his post-match, Mikey Lewis obviously got a lot of media attention when he did his post-match, and he was obviously very emotional, representing his country, very passionate. And they asked Sean Wayne about him. One of the first things Wayne said was, yeah, he said he played very well, there is some stuff he needs to improve on. And I took that as there was a couple of times where they were running at shows and he was trying to strip the ball and he gave away penalties,
Yeah, he gave a
stripping
couple
the
of silly
balls
penalties
and
away.
things like that. So I think that's what Wayne was probably alluding to. But no, I think you're right in terms of when you're up against Olakawatu, Kolomatangi, Felice Kafuse, they've definitely held the road. They didn't get bullied, not by any stretch of the imagination.
Now, I know we said we weren't going to go into every try, but I do want to mention the third game. Harry Newman's try, make a break on the left-hand side. Ball ends up at the hands of Harry Smith. What awareness to put a crossfield kick in like that.
Yeah, the
to Harry
flat
Newman.
bullet kick.
The flat bullet kick took players out of the defence, and Harry Newman does very well to be a sliding defender. I can't remember who it was that was coming across.
He does well to catch it.
Yeah.
That's one thing. Everybody just went and just assumed he was going to tear it. Ball is coming at you with that much pace on it, and you're trying to catch it, step at the same time.
And he juggled, and I think he was.
It's not like it's a floater. You've got your time to set yourself. It was bang off Harry Smith's boot. And it was pretty much at his chest.
His original plan, I think, was to catch it, draw, and pass to Matty Ashton, which looked like the obvious play. But he juggled it, and the defence was on him, and he did really well for that to score.
Yeah,
I mean, it perhaps would have looked nicer had he caught it and given it to Ashton. That would have made the try look aesthetically nicer. However, the fact that it was at Headingley, and
He'd had a few critics from us as well.
Newman scored after a good series. Yeah, I'm pleased with that.
I was very impressed with Harry
You know
Newman.
what, as well? Toby King gets injured in the second game, and Ben Curry is the centre that comes in. He was brilliant.
He was, yeah. It was
Ben
Curry.
Curry was fantastic.
He had a fantastic game.
In that
Absolutely
role,
brilliant.
unfamiliar role for him on the biggest stage. He was fantastic. Look, I'm chuffed to bits.
I did see a lot of people having a go that we're an international team and playing a second row there, and then there was the
Mulhern
shot.
lose.
Short Wayne likes playing second rowers in the wing, or in the centres, and I was like, what are you talking about? They're missing Wardle, they're missing Farnworth, Percival. Now King's injured.
Yeah.
What do you
My
want?
argument has no validity at all. In
No.
the World Cup,
Just-
his centres were Farnworth, and what if anybody comes up and goes, "Yeah, but Watkins played second row." His majority of his career, he's played much more at centre than he has at second row.
Yeah.
And then, like, if anything, the only time we've seen a second row play centre was when Bateman had got at World Cup in what was it, 20 whatever for under Wayne Bennett.
When
basically.
Wayne
like,
Bennett did
Wayne,
that.
I don't get how you
Bennett
say-
played Bateman always in the centres. That's just where he saw him. And fair enough, if that's where you see Bateman, that's where you see Bateman. Obviously,
I
proved
do
wrong,
think that
but-
was more down to Bennett wanting defensive players, and the way that Bennett plays rugby.
the way we spoke about Tonga.
Yeah.
Coming on you, but yeah, I'm really pleased for Sean Wayne. I know he's had his critics because he can't do anything right. He gets out to bed and somebody criticises him on Twitter.
He rolled out the Wigan way.
But yeah, but he's had his critics this series. He's won it 3-0 against a really strong Tonga team who people were tipping to batter us. I mean, St Helens fans have been wanting Tonga to win and really disappointed that they've lost against their own nation, which is weird. But yeah, I'm really pleased.
Can we
for
all
Wayne.
stop saying that he only picks Wigan players? Because the Wigan captain literally played for about 10 minutes across the 3 games.
Well, it was less than that, wasn't it? He didn't
Well,
get in the first and the third.
well, that's right. He didn't get in the first and third. I think in the last 10 minutes.
He played Dupree off the bench in the last game,
Yeah. Who I thought held his own.
and he played Harry Smith, who was there on merit.
Yeah, it should have. It's
I
it's
I was pleased at how well Bateman went,
yeah,
particularly
Bateman did.
particularly once the series kind of got going because he'd been off for 6 or 7
Yeah,
weeks.
he was a little bit slow in the first game.
I thought he was fantastic.
We mentioned this. This is not playing a warm-up game. The performance they put in the first game, where it was 22-18 or 24-20, I can't remember exactly. Sorry.
2018, I think.
And a few players looked off the pace, and Bateman got a bit of criticism. I think, was it Burgess got a bit of criticism? There was someone else who came over from the NRL who got a bit of criticism.
You got to take into consideration, like you said,
But
these
Arsenal
players
haven't
have
played
played for so many.
They hadn't played for 5-6
No,
weeks.
and yeah,
They had a training week to 10 days, play a game, another training week, game 2, game 3. All them NRL players were showing the quality, showing why they were
up to
NRL.
speed.
especially Bateman. I mean, but I don't get the whole Bateman's finished thing because he was half decent last year in a really poor side,
Yeah.
really poor side, and he was half decent. He's always been great for England, and he's something so different.
I
from what
always
we've
ask
got.
myself
I
a
mean,
question, and I can't remember if I've ever mentioned it on this podcast, but when I think about who would I pick in my England side, I always ask myself the question, who would the Aussies not want us to pick?
yeah,
And they don't want us to pick John Bateman. They don't want us to pick Victor Radley.
Hmm.
Because they know the players that are going to work you and they're going to be at you all the time. The Aussies would love him in the NRL playing. If he was an Aussie, they'd want him in State of Origin because he's got that big game mentality. He always does his job. And I think we can be a bit critical of players like that, where the Aussies sort of respect that in their own. So the jobs that Radley did, Bateman did, of being aggressive in them games, we don't prioritise as much over here. I don't think.
I think Sean Wayne does.
Sean Wayne does. I don't think as a general population we do.
No, I mean we're huge Bateman fans, and he will probably be in that conversation for the next World Cup. I think just about.
Yeah.
Obviously, Elliot Whitehead's finished, and what a try he scored to finish it off.
Yeah.
And I was really pleased for him. Whitehead's been a fantastic player for England, and he could have finished earlier to focus on his lucrative NRL gig and didn't. So fair play to Elliot Whitehead for going as long as he could. He said himself, it's going to be like a scrap for that spot now,
Yeah.
which is interesting because he mentioned quite a few players. I think he mentioned Kai Pearce-Paul, he mentioned Ben Curry, he
Will
mentioned... no, I don't think he mentioned
I
Farrell.
don't think he mentioned it, but obviously...
I think he was talking about like long term. Who else did he talk about? Some young player, Matty Nicholson. I think he mentioned.
Matty Nicholson will be looking at a place. Pierce-Paul's going to be looking at a shot.
Yeah, I think he mentioned Nicholson
Smithies.
and Pearce-Paul.
Smithies will be looking for a place there. There's plenty of young second rowers coming through that might think that's up for the taking. I can win that. And it's very difficult. If Matty Nicholson has a better injury season, I know he missed quite a few games with injuries this year, if he can get through that this year, he's going to be around for an England shout. So's Carpius Paul. Morgan Smithies ended up getting called up for the third test as 18th man. There's going to be a lot of options there.
There is. I think there is, yeah.
I think the future is really, really bright for us as a Tier 1 nation. I think we've got a really solid set of players. If everybody's fit, that we mentioned, that's a really strong back line. Our forwards are getting stronger. Can we compete with Australia and New Zealand on the territory? Probably not yet. But I tell you what, we keep playing games like this and we keep beating teams like this. Next year, Samoa are coming. Ashes, World Cup, Australia, New Zealand. This is the plan. Like we've got a plan now till 2028.
It's not to win today.
We've been calling out this no plan for so long. Now we've actually got one till 2029. I want more mid-season internationals, but there's no Northern Hemisphere team to play against them. When the wheelchair game was on Sunday, which was a great game, they said about England and France being two teams geographically quite close together that are both powerhouses in the sport, and that's why Australia and New Zealand have spurred each other on because they were a similar level.
What series that was the bit of a Tri-Nations
the Tri-Nations that was a brilliant game, brilliant series, but they've spurred each other on. The Pacific nations coming in together,
spurred each other
on. So it feels like England have been left out there because we've got no Northern Hemisphere rival to play mid-season or to play on short notice, because France, as we've mentioned, are only unfortunately up for playing our B team, and even then we beat them quite easily. The home nations, they give each other good games, and they might give France a good game, but they wouldn't give us a good game, unfortunately, as well.
The only way we can have a mid-season international like that is if Super League clubs are prepared to release players to go to Australia.
Well, that's why we put forward Origin as a Lancashire Yorkshire thing, and obviously that leaves out Kai Pearce-Ball and maybe a few others. But that's why we put that forward as Origin, because that's what the Aussies do, isn't it? Because they don't.
It raises the standard.
It raises the standard. It would raise the standard of English rugby league as a team more than playing France would. And I get the whole Combined Nations thing, and I probably would actually keep that.
Yeah.
I think I would keep the Combined Nations as a concept, and I think they give us.
Teams don't pull out the players.
I mean, they always give us a tougher game than France anyway. I think I probably would keep that Combined Nations thing and have an Origin, but we're back on the old ground there.
Now, the one thing I did want to mention before we moved on was a position that we probably were slightly affected with injuries. Obviously, I know we were missing quite a few centres. Dom Young obviously pulled out beforehand with the infection, the illness.
Yeah. And Makinson got injured, didn't he?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure Marshall wasn't available for injury because he'd recorded a load of stuff with England rugby that they've been putting out, and yet didn't feature. And Thewlis was called up as spare winger for the last games. I think Marshall might have been injured as well.
So was Ash Hanley as well.
Well, Ash Hanley would have been probably one of those that was picked as well. So I don't know about Ash Hanley, but I would imagine so.
But was it the forwards? And now Burgess, McMeekin. I'm trying to think of all the props we played. Matty Lees, Morgan Knowles. Who else played? Dupree. Chris Hill. Robbie Mulhern.
Oh yeah, Mulhern.
Was the 7 that I was thinking of. A lot of big names not played that were injured. Alexi wasn't available. Luke Thompson. Ethan Havard. Walmsley. Them 4 are probably... At least 3 of them 4 are probably in your strongest 7 or 8. So I think that is a position that we're only going to get stronger in, and it's good to see that depth.
Yeah.
And then you go into players like Tom Holroyd at Leeds. Is it Tom Holroyd?
Do you mention Cooper?
I like Tom Holroyd.
And obviously he won't be around for the next World Cup, like he's a bit older on, but he could have played in this series if he was fit.
He was in the squad.
And you start to look through, and then you get into you're going into like 10 to 15 back. But Liam Byrne.
Well,
I know he's the Irish international.
He's the Irish international.
But players of that...
Can't be Liam Byrne, the English international.
I know. I'm trying to think of players who...
Ruins the game.
Is it Rod Studd, the commentator?
Rod Studd's game, yeah. He got
But-
bingo on, but 3 minutes 39 is Liam Byrne, the Irish international.
But you get my point that we're looking at players then that we're going actually are doing very, very good jobs at their clubs.
I like Tom Burgess and Mike McMeekin to lead this pack. forward. Obviously, they won't play in the next World Cup, or Burgess definitely won't. Might make it, but I like them two being these pack leaders now. I think Chris Hill, unfortunately for him, is probably just a bit too long in the tooth for it. But I think these young lads what are coming through.
Mike McMeekin 29 now.
Yeah, I think Mike McMeekin's going to be the leader of that pack, plus Burgess, for the next couple of years, and I do think that we'll get stronger and stronger in that position. I think
So do I.
front rowers. And the big question is 9 because of Roby's retirement.
But I think Darryl Clark did a very good job.
Yeah, we don't know what sort of Darryl Clark's future holds. We don't know how he's going to play in the next couple of years. There's obviously Cruz Lehman coming back, who's eligible to play for England. Radley's done a spell there. It feels like we've had Roby and Josh Hodgson.
I forgot his name now. Who played on the bench?
Danny Walker.
Danny Walker.
Yeah, I like Danny Walker.
Yeah, he comes in and adds energy.
It's interesting to see where we go with that. But yeah, I do think this front row.
And then but you still got options. You start talking about Brad O'Neill. Could he be around there?
One for the future, definitely.
Yeah, he's just won a grand final playing as Wigan's 9. Obviously Darryl Clark. The Roby retirement is obviously he was England's 9 for however long.
Well, Roby and Hodgson were the two, weren't they? We were blessed because we had Roby, Hodgson, Darryl Clark, but Powell didn't even get a look in as a good 9, Powell, but with them 3 in front of you.
It's
sorry, but I mean Michael Owen played last year, didn't he, with Andy Ackers.
Yes, Andy Ackers could be
Yeah.
back in with a shout. Obviously got to move to Leeds. But I do agree that's probably the one position that I've just start thinking who takes that shirt.
Well, I'm not saying we haven't got anybody. I'm just saying it'd be interesting to see which one.
I think
grabs
everywhere else feels more confident. You're more confident that Wellesby's going to be your full back and your centres are going to be Farnworth and one of 3 or 4 players.
Yeah.
And your wingers are going to be Dom Young and probably Tom Johnston now.
Probably, yeah.
Your half-backs are going to be George Williams. I would go Harry Smith. But you could go
Smith,
Mikey
yeah.
Lewis. You could
I
go...
think Williams and Smith will be the partnership with Mikey Lewis because he's more in the Williams mould, being Williams understudy.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what if you want to learn from a player, George Williams is one you want to learn from.
Yeah.
If you're Mikey Lewis, he adds that defensive side to his game, and he adds that just that intelligence to his game that just goes up another level because Williams is so good at that.
Yeah,
But
100%.
the forwards, it's weird. We start picking 10 players, and I'm saying, well, I prefer X, Y, and Z, and you prefer A, B, C, or whatever.
Well, I like Aledzki, don't I? I've made
but-
no bones about that in the past. I like Aledzki, whereas you might go for like a Tom Holroyd.
But we're not picking players and going, oh my, we're scraping the barrel here. It's between 10 to 15 prop forwards that we could pick. And you've got to pick your 5. 4 or 5 that you would have in your starting lineup, and there's arguments for them all.
Do you think Wayne's the man? Take us forward into the next World Cup?
Yes.
I think so.
It's a long way away, but I think so as well.
I think so. I can't see what he's doing. He's clearly he's very happy coaching. He's very passionate to do it. He takes it extremely seriously. Again, he's not done another card. I know obviously he's got a job at Wigan, another coaching job. He sees it as a full-time position. He says all the time, he's recording, he's sending the players clips all the time. He wants them to play, so he's clearly committed. And
The stories you hear about Wayne from his
he's
time
got a
at
good
Wigan,
success rate. He's got a semi-final of a World Cup. He says he's disappointed he didn't get to the final.
Yeah,
He's got a 3-0 whitewash over Tonga.
Here's the thing about that World Cup, right, is that a lot of criticism gets thrown at him and at England for that World Cup. Don't forget, we were under strength then.
Yeah.
Forwards. Backs were okay, but under strength then. He had players pull out that he would have wanted to use in the halves, probably. That's why he played...
Sam and Wellesby as the
yes,
fullback
that's why he
six.
played Sam and Wellesby both in the same team, which he probably would
He
have
probably
picked.
wanted done.
I know it worked alright, but there's a whole lot of criticism there of like, well, they didn't make the final, they got beat by Samoa. Yeah, in extra time.
Yeah.
Against a good Samoa side, much
And
better
that-
than the one that played this year, who ran Australia reasonably close. Didn't get embarrassed in final, did they? And think about what we did prior to that. We dominated them at Newcastle. We beat France easy
Beat Greece.
at Bolton. We
Got beat Greece.
We've got to beat Greece.
We've got to beat Greece easy, but yeah. We beat
Sorry, you love that, don't you? Got me, Greece.
Yeah, sorry, so that's a bit of a private joke here. So when Sean Wayne was asked
After France.
it was after France, yeah, like, work how, how far could you go in this World Cup and interviews, and his response was just, well, I've got to beat Greece. And it was just very so, like, blunt and to the point of
that
just
sums
like...
Sean Wayne up, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, yeah. Just
I'm not bothered about the rest of the tournament. Just win that next game.
Yeah.
And you just keep winning your next.
Think about how good we were against PNG.
But you're right in what you're
Wigan,
saying,
yeah.
though, Skipper. That was possibly, those performances were the best English rugby league performances we've seen.
100 million
So-
percent.
so-
That quarter final against PNG was absolutely breathtaking for an England fan to see us playing like that against a team. Well, I know it was PNG, but they were a strong side, and we've seen what PNG can do this year. They've done really well.
Well,
They've
in
done
the
really,
tournament.
really well. They've won their Tri-Nations, haven't they?
Well, last thing before we finish, I just want to ask you. Obviously, there was a bit of beef between the two coaches.
Yeah.
Because Christian Wolf kept on going on about ruck speed, being a bit slow.
Christian Wolf, who spent 4
track.
years at Saints, 3 years at Saints, slowing down every ruck that he physically could.
The track obviously wasn't fast for his players and things like that. Wayne come out and said, obviously, after the second test, when they won it, they thought the comments the week prior were disgraceful and disgusting.
Yeah, the
What's
captain-
the excuse going to be next week?
The captain said that England didn't win that first game. We lost it.
Yeah.
And that's something you can say to yourselves, but you don't say it in the press.
Absolutely, and the same for Wolf. Same goes for Wolf. Yeah.
So is his argument got validity for his ruck speed, or do you think he's talking crap?
It's always amazing, the team that complain about ruck speed are the team that's lost.
Yeah.
I never hear a winning team say, oh, the ruck speed was rubbish.
I don't know.
Because they've controlled it.
I
And
don't
by
know.
being dominant, you control the ruck speed. You don't just get to have
It's really tough for English refs to referee England because they're just going to get blamed for everything they do, even if it's the right thing. They're just going to get blamed.
But I don't want to go off on a massive tangent here, but I see it all the time in Super League and complain about ruck speed. When they've been in a tackle, had 3 men put you on your back, pin you down, and then get up and throw their arms in the air that they've not got fast ruck speed and they've not got quick play.
You've not earned the right to play the ball quickly. Yeah.
You've not earned it. So how's that right?
If this NRL Grand Final from 2014 was today, it'd be 5-a-side by the end of it. These men are absolutely launched into each other. I can see that James Graham just smashed somebody. Greg Eastwood would have had 40 red cards.
But but going back onto that, I just think it's very difficult to complain about it when no one ever complains.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, isn't it? And I think I don't know. It was almost good to see.
Yeah.
A bit of a rivalry in there, kind of just fired it up a little bit.
I heard Sam Tompkins was saying the other week to somebody, like, we don't do this in rugby league. We don't hype up the games, even if it's fake. Well, it might not be fake. We'll just come out in the media. Well, I don't particularly like George Williams, and it might not be. It might not be true.
Higher promoters that talk.
But you'd watch that game then just to see.
But you are right. And you actually see it in football when you see rivalries between random teams that dislike each other.
We need Mourinho up manager.
Think about Ireland and Lebanon.
Well,
why is that a
watching
rival?
We went watching that, and it started fighting or whatever, and I went, "What have I missed?" And I turned around and spoke to a bloke, and he said, like, "Oh yeah, they hate each other."
The Ireland and Lebanon
from 2007.
Yeah,
and I'm like, what?
We just need that. We need more of that because if I knew Ireland and Lebanon hated each other, I'd tune in every time. Of course you would.
That's it. And
why Origin's so good, isn't it?
Yeah,
exactly.
And
I'm convinced that those guys in Origin nowadays, they don't hate each other at all.
They're best mates.
They're best mates. But they come on and they say, "Oh, I hate everybody from Queensland." And I hate everybody from New South Wales. They're all they're all dogs, they're all snakes, and all this rubbish.
And you get Cam Munster going on, taking the mick out of him on a TV programme.
Brilliant. Just do it. You'd get more people watching.
Yeah, I do agree though that them comments and the bit of a rivalry did spark a bit of something. And then the second game, obviously, there was the yellow cards and the sin binnings in the third game.
The third game where Conrad Hurrell just decided to punch Mike
Mimic.
punching bag
I
3.
watched it back and I went, what is he angry about? I was like, because it's not like Covell. He's normal. Even when he puts a shot on, he picks people up and he's smiling. And I went, something's happened there. What's McMeekin done to him? That's out of character for Hugo. Then I watched it back and went, he's literally done nothing. He's just started punching. Like, I don't get it.
Mike McMeekin, who appears to be one of the nicest people in rugby league.
Well, everyone seems to like Mike McMeekin, but he just punched him for no reason.
Punching him.
We had Matty Lees pulling her, and then every time anybody else tackled one of the blokes with long hair, they were afraid of grabbing their hair, so they were grabbing shirts and stuff. It was just weird.
Very, very weird.
They binned Kolo Matangi for nothing.
Yeah, because he ran in.
But everybody ran in.
I know. I don't agree with it, but that's what the referee said. Said it was because he ran in. But yeah, it was a good, to sum up kind of thing. It was a good series. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
You know what? Before we wrap this up, I'm going to ask one question. Do you wish we were playing Tonga next year? Now, after this tournament, would you like a tour to Tonga now? At the end of 2024. After it ended up in a bit of beef, a bit of fighting.
It's tough, because you do want to play Samoa. I really do want to play Samoa. I'm looking forward to playing Samoa. And Tonga will obviously want to crack at that Tri-Nations thing. But maybe you could do it like they call it in college football, a home and home, where you host each other, one at home this year and one then away next year. So you play everybody home and away 2 years in a row because you make your own schedule there outside of league play. A bit complicated, but you could do that and it would be like a payoff to this series. Okay, England have won 3-0. What are the Tongans going to do for the next 12 months to get ready?
Yeah.
And you could play. I don't know if there's a place in Tonga where you could play this game. I don't know, but we know Eden Park has been the Red Sea. They call it, didn't they?
Yeah.
The Red Sea. Whenever Tonga played, and when they beat Australia, that was in Eden Park, wasn't it? So Auckland, you could play Auckland, Wellington, Christchurch if you really wanted to, and that would be basically all Tonga fans anyway. But I think you're onto something there. I think a home and home to use the college football.
Or even use a mid-season international. I know we talked about it then, but they come together.
I think it would have
Can they get the revenge?
I think it would have to be the same format as this series,
Yeah.
but over there. I think it'd have to be 3 games.
No, I don't disagree. I just think now, when it ended after that third game, I wanted a little bit more.
Where do you think the 3 games should be next year against Samoa? Because I've seen a few people saying we should have one at Brentford. That new stadium at Brentford would be good.
I don't know how many it holds.
I think it's 16. I think it's 16 off the top of my head.
My thing is, if we're going down south,
Not Wembley.
not Wembley, but if we're going down south, you have to have that as the big highlight, standout game and try and get 45,000, 50,000.
No, I don't mind doing Wigan, Brentford. Oh well, not Wigan necessarily, but Warrington or Wigan or St Helens, one of them.
A Lancashire, Yorkshire, down
Yeah,
south.
I think that's probably the way, isn't it? And if perhaps if you get the recall, that's a bit big though, isn't it? Coventry, it's a bit big that. Bramall Lane.
Bolton?
Yeah, Bolton was good. But only problem, Bolton was good. Only problem is it's in football season. But Bolton was
you know
good.
what I would say? If we could get a game at Tottenham, I would go. Because the experience of being at Tottenham was really, really good.
Yeah, problem is the time of year because Tottenham, on top of Brentford and Sheffield and Ellen Road and Etihad and all that, is Tottenham have got the NFL, which is this time of year as well.
They got the retractable pitches, so they could be the ones that could host
We've
it.
used the football pitch. We wouldn't use the NFL pitch.
No, but that's what I mean. If it got all time,
yeah, I know that's the tough thing though. Is that when they're not hosting Tottenham, they're hosting the NFL. So just because of the time of year, I think May worked, or even August would have worked for a Challenge Cup final. There, I think Autumn International might just not work. Be good though.
But right, we've reviewed Wigan. We've reviewed the Tonga series. There's no rugby now.
That's it.
That's a shame.
Sort of feels like
Gonna get Rugby League Live 4 out the cupboard and play it.
yeah.
So you've got to renew the season tickets for next year. Any season ticket holders listening, you've got until it's the first couple of days in December, isn't it, to renew your
I think
season?
it's the 3rd of December.
Third of
Don't
season
trust
tickets.
us, but
I think it is the 3rd. I think you're right. So
The
yeah,
early
make sure
bird
you-
price, if you've not got a season ticket, you want a new one off the back of this year's success. The early bird is 2nd of December.
Yeah.
Sorry, 2nd of Jan.
how much is that?
The renewal is 2nd of. I don't know. It's really.
That's what I
reasonably
mean. I remember
priced.
looking at
Renewal's £250, I think. If you miss the
That is
renewal date, you're up to £350.
Such a
I
good
think, or
price
something.
for when they announced those prices. I was convinced Luke fixtures were going, and it was only for 11 games. That's a really good price.
Yeah.
Huddersfield is like £15 a game.
The basically, yeah.
Basically giving them away Huddersfield.
Well, I've just checked on the website for ticket prices.
I want
You've
to
got
catch some championship rugby as well next year.
yeah, you've
It's a
got
good
first,
competition, that.
I need to do some more away days with you lads. That's what I need to do.
Away
next year.
days, yeah,
I
I've
wanna
got to
do
get
some
away days.
days
Get them in
as
the
well.
calendar. It's when they move them.
I
but
know they move in
They shift them late, or they shift
things
them
come up, and then obviously you've got to fork out for the ticket and whatever and stuff, and it ends up if
So-
there's a couple of away games in a month, it can.
The
be
away
stretched,
days are
but-
good though.
But I know. I've been to a couple. Like I said, we did Wakefield in the cup, didn't we? And I do like a good away day, so I want to do that more.
So I will tweet out the prices again to whatever.
Huddersfield was
But
good.
obviously-
Huddersfield was a good chicken shop.
Huddersfield was a good
How good
shop.
was that chicken shop?
We went to Huddersfield. Me and Jukes went to Huddersfield.
Yeah.
once. We
How
got
good was
pies
that?
for £1. Remember that? Pound
Yeah.
of pie.
Yeah,
They did pound of pie when you went.
They did pound of
Because we
pie.
went this year and did pound of pie.
Yeah,
I think
they,
you should
they
chuck
ran out
everything
of
away.
stuff, so they just went, "We'll chuck them in the bin. You can have them for £1."
Yeah. Just to say that before we go on, when we end it, renewal. If you're renewing a season ticket, it's £250.
Yeah.
250.
Good price.
How many games at home? 11, 3, 14.
13
14
or 14
home games.
home games, yeah.
What can you? That's for sideline view. It's 230 if you're behind the sticks.
Yeah.
Over 60s is about 180 and 150. Same for young adults. If you're
Yeah.
under 17, it's
You're still on young adult
£37.
price, you. We are on the full price, me and Lewis, for the
Yeah,
first
yeah,
time
actually,
this year.
sorry.
First,
Yeah.
first time this year on full price, and it's still
Wee.
a
We're
good
out
deal.
now.
Hey.
It's a good deal.
But
Still.
anyone under 17, 8 to 17, it's £37. Oh, it's to get.
Do you still get all the away games in that little book?
No, I was just going to have a
That
look at
was
some of the
good though,
benefits.
wasn't it?
I didn't
When
know
you
that.
were a kid,
Get
I
your
know-
away games.
I know
And
you
charge
had-
cup rounds as
I know
well.
your adult had to go with you, and it was like they had to pay a full price ticket, but they were good. Them away
It was
days.
encouraging you.
When you had a little book full of tickets for away games.
Yeah, it was. Right, that wraps it up. And thank you for listening. See you next time. Hi, I'm Tom.
I'm Matty.
And I'm Lewis.
This is the Wigan Way, Wigan's favourite rugby league podcast.
He'll put you in his trap